Hello again, Professor. This is my journal for week number 4. My apologies again for being not on time. As a musician, too much work has been coming my way, and it completely books up my weekends, and I get busy and just full of excuses, right? So I apologize for that. But regarding this week's reading, I've been thinking about the last few days. I really enjoyed this section of the book and the chapters regarding salvation, how he breaks it down, talking about the calling, conversion, being justified, justification. It's really interesting the way he breaks it down. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. However, I've been thinking on this and sort of meditating on these few points in chapter, I think it's 34, the last few days, and I don't know. I feel like I could probably answer the 3 points within this little part, so I'll do my best. One of the things that I chose and that I think about on a daily basis, I guess, regarding salvation anyway, is just being conscious of the idea of righteousness. And Erickson makes the point that, again, it's something that comes from God, right? And in chapter 34 here, he talks about how in the Old Testament, it was a concept that was what does he call it? A forensic, or it appears in a forensic or judicial context. What it means by that, I guess, is that it would, like, righteousness was pronounced or declared on a person once they did something, them to be righteous because they have obeyed or fulfilled the law. He goes on to contrast that in the New Testament, we are declared righteous because, well, actually, I would just read this because he puts it much better than I could. It says, in the New Testament, justification is God's declarative act by which, on the basis of the sufficiency of Christ's atoning death, he pronounces believers to have fulfilled all the requirements of the law that pertain to them. Justification is a forensic act imputing the righteousness of Christ to the believer. It is not an actual infusing of holiness into the individual. It is a matter of declaring the person righteous, as a judge does in acquitting the accused. It is not a matter, of making the person righteous or altering his or her actual spiritual condition. And that's the point that really struck me, is that we are declared righteous through the work of Christ. However, it doesn't change our spiritual condition. He references a judge. I often think about it as the judge acquitting this person and declaring the accused in front of him righteous. Meanwhile, that person is probably still thinking that he's going to commit the same sin or something similar, or something else. So while we are declared righteous through the work of Christ, we still have to battle our spiritual condition, which is fallen. We still have desires, and we will eventually have some kind of desire to go against that very righteousness. And so that's something that's very present in my mind almost every day, and it's something that struck me this week with the reading and just that point. And regarding that same point, something that I never thought about, or I could say learned this time, where on just the following page he talks about the objections to this, to the doctrine of forensic justification. And it's a valid point where he says that, well, if God is to declare someone righteous, or he says here the interpretation of justification seems to make God guilty of deception. In other words, if God is declaring you righteous, but you really are not, is he not deceiving himself? And I think it's a valid point. I just never thought about it in that way. And it's a good angle to at least consider, and I've been thinking about that. And so again, as with all of these things, because it's so much to take in and to dive into, if you just read another page or two, you're on to 3 more points, and it's difficult to spend time with that. So I look forward to doing that sometime in the future, because I think it merits more of my time anyway. Just that act, is God really deceiving himself? He declares us righteous, yet we're still sinners. I would imagine, from an apologetic standpoint, how would I know Erickson in the following paragraphs goes on to answer that question. I just am thinking about that from a personal standpoint. How would I address someone if someone came to me with that point, even in my life? What and how would I answer that question? I know Erickson talks about there's 2 senses of the word righteous, and how do we use that? And we're saved in one sense and not in the other. And it's also a very good way to think about it. So anyway, those are some of the things that I've been thinking and pondering about this week. These 2 pages this week have really just been stuck in my mind, and that's what I'm thinking about, and look forward to possibly during this break pursue those and see what else I can find, and look forward to doing that. So thank you.